Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, the Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you. Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. And today's topic is seeing the light in everyone. And today I have Stephen joining me.
Hey.
Rodney.
Hey.
And Teron.
Hey.
So seeing the light in everyone. So I'm going to let you open this, Teron.
Yeah. So I think I was sitting around thinking, and I think oftentimes we are all able to see everyone. We're often able to see people who are further from us as their true higher being and go, oh, they're so great or they're amazing. But sometimes we struggle to see that in the people closest to us. And so today I just kind of wanted to focus on how to see the light in everybody close to you, and acknowledging that that does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, when you say that, it just made me think about seeing the light in other people, even the ones that I probably had hard times with. You know, I try to look at the situation, look at them in a higher light, and with no judgment, you know, and it sort of just makes me look at myself, because I always think about it as to where what I see in others is a reflection of what I got going on inside of me, and I always keep that in my mind. So I try to keep a positive outlook, and big thing is not passing no judgment, you know, on nobody.
Yeah, and I think I kind of do the same. Like the other day, I was at work and we were having a meeting, and we do like little icebreakers in the beginning of every meeting. And when this topic came up to my mind, I was like, well, let me see. Like maybe I struggle to see like the light in everyone, because maybe I just need them to shine themselves a little brighter. So I went into the meeting. I was like, so the icebreaker today is, why do you think you're great? And everybody was very timid in the beginning. It's like, I do this or I do that, and it's like, no, but like, why do you think you're great? And then I started asking myself that question. It's like, well, why do I feel I'm great? And then first it was answers like, oh, well, I can do this well, I can do that well. And then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, well, no, I believe I'm great because I am, one. And two, it was just, I need to believe I'm great, because the minute I do, everybody else will as well. I think I can't ask for everybody else to see me a certain way if I wasn't willing to acknowledge myself in that light. And I think shades on a lamp sometimes like makes for a brighter room, but at the same time, you take that lamp shade off, whole room lights up. So why do we always try and put a dimmer or a cap on ourselves? Yeah, and it's and so as they started answering the question too, I then moved it forward just a little bit, and I was like, well, I also want to tell you why I believe you're great as well. And so I started making sure that I was acknowledging all the things that I see in them as well. And I started thinking about, well, if I'm able to do this here at work, what other places like do I not see the greatness in like everybody around me? And I realized that I was subconsciously probably dimming the light of most people around me. It's easy for me to look at Diddy and go, yo, Diddy's amazing because he did this and he say all these great things. But I talk to Rod every day. He say the same stuff. But for some reason, why am I not calling it great when he's doing it? I'm like, yeah, that's my cousin though. I was like, so I think we should really start pouring into each other and acknowledging each other.
I think Stephen had me really thinking about when he said the judgment point of it, because a lot of times when someone's close to you is saying something or whatever, the rest of their situation. So you might be judging that, or that might hinder how you take their words or whatever, So I think not having judgment plays a big part. Like a lot of times, y'all know I always say this, like, I could tell my friends something, and then like I can tell them exactly, everything, and then they'll have to and then they'll go through it or whatever, and then I'd be like, I just told you this. I just told you this. But then I had to realize that, hey, they had to go through it themselves, and a lot of times I realized that I could have just took the judgment off of it with them and seen them as higher than as their higher self they are, and that would help the situation. But yeah, I think judgment is a real big key to it, and when we take that judgment away and we're just moving around our people with love, then we can see them totally differently.
Man, I think you hit on something so important too. You know, when you said, you know, if I were to see them as their higher self, it might have made the situation better. I think that is so true sometimes, and I think it's like we've said previously before. You know, sometimes that's kind of what people need. You know, sometimes they might be in a space where they're not really expressing like, hey, I'm down in the dumps right now, and I just need somebody to remind me that this is a very bright light. And so if I were to have a friend going through that and I'm coming into it with judgment, I'm not making them feel any better. I'm not seeing them for who they really are. That's the biggest problem. I'm not seeing them for who they really are.
Yeah, and like that, piggybacking on that, it's like a lot of times when people around us have issues, problems, or whatever, we come from a place of, I want to help you. And so when we're coming from that place of, I want to help you, you need help, that makes a person feel like something's wrong with them. And because that's what we're thinking something's wrong with you. Like you need some help. And so, but if we're looking at them like, you're a divine being, and I know you got this, I know this is all going to work out for you perfectly to perfection, that allows you to step back and not be in a space of judgment, allows you to just love them and be in a place where your light is shining and you can see their light shining, even though they may not feel their light shining at that time. And it really makes a difference. It's like, it's almost like when you are shining your light, and knowing that it's like when you're tapping theirs as well, it just makes them feel different. Like they can feel it. And when they start feeling like, they feel that little tap or that tug, that just makes them feel powerful. And then they can come up with, what do I need to do next?
No, I used to feel like, hey, these people need to know how great I am. Like they should know, or like how sometimes we got them certain people in your life that it mean more when they, and so I used to battle with that. Like, I'm doing all these things and I'm doing it on my own and yada yada yada. And you want them certain people to acknowledge you as, being great. And what I had to realize was that I still had those insecurities with myself that I wasn't great, or still had that mentality that I gotta prove that I'm great, and it really hindered me pouring that love into myself and understanding that, hey, I am great, and for other people to see it, I gotta shine brighter. Yeah, and like Teron said, take the shade off my lamp and really shine, and that's when people will see that I'm great. And
I'm gonna just say really the exact same thing you say, but it's like, I guess sometimes you can see a child just blossom when their parent walks into the room, and it's like, when parents, they see their child, they think, my child is the greatest, and then you can just see the child just come to life or just open up when they are looking at themselves through their parents' eyes. And I feel that like when my husband looks at me, then I feel like and my goal is to look at other people like that, so that when other people see my eyes, then they feel like they can shine.
Yeah, I had a friend one time. We used to work together. And he was going through some things. Had a rough day, a rough week, I think it was. And he walked off and he went outside for a second, and he was just busting out crying. So I come out there, you know, I'm all happy and cool and just like,
Cool.
yeah. I'm like, what's going on, my guy? And he started talking to me, and I was like, man, I got so much going on, and I'm like, you got it. I'm like, you good, man. You really got it. Like, stop worrying, you know. Wipe your tears. I'm sounding soft, but wipe your tears, and come back on in here. So after that, when he got off from work, he sat back and he thanked me, and I was like, I forgot all about it. I really did. And he said, man, I appreciate that, man. He's like, I'm going through a lot, and you know, just that little second, that little moment. He's like, I really needed it. And I'm like, man, you got it, man, because I was there. I was the same. So I felt good, you know. That made me feel good that I could help somebody just by being my higher self, you know, and then being in that space of just love and pouring.
Yeah, the other day I was on social media and I had seen a friend on there posting things that wasn't normal or like them. And like I could tell something was going on. So I reached out to him like, hey, everything okay? And they told me what they were going through or whatever. And my first thought was to be like, help them. Like I need to do something, you know. But then it just clicked to me like, they got this. And then I was just like, just focus on being the best version of yourself every day. And that's what I told them. And that just felt much better than like trying to take on their stuff, or because I think a lot of times, like a lot of times I realize that when we do those things or trying to protect this person or trying to save this person, we're really saying we don't think they can do it alone. You know, and that's not what we're meaning to say, but we're kind of saying like, I don't think you got it without me, but they do. And so that just registered me to like, you know, see them higher and they have it. You know, just be the best version of yourself every day.
Absolutely.
I like that a lot, actually. You know, because I think I never thought about it until you said it to me one day, and I think that is exactly what we're saying. You know, when we feel like we got to jump in, and the help that we think we want to give is inserting ourselves, and here, let me lift this burden off of you. Because first of all, I don't want you to perceive anything happening in your life as a burden. So the minute I start calling it that's what it is now, and I don't want that on them anymore. So it's like, well, first I need to be able to say like, that's their journey, and that's okay for that to be their journey. You know. It's I don't know, I just always find it very interesting how, you know, the minute we're able to step back and acknowledge that the best way to help is to just pour into the love, it just, I don't know, it blows my mind how fast things kind of change too, you know. Like suddenly, like, you know what, I think things change too because it's not a physical change that's happening, it's a emotional and spiritual change that's happening. It's like, when I'm pouring that love into you now, you're like, yeah, no, I do have this actually, like, and it may have felt like a struggle, but it's actually not a struggle. But like, if I just come in here and do it, you probably still got it. Like, I could just be creating another issue because now I could be creating like where you feel like, oh, well, if I ever need this is where I go, and that's not the solution you want for yourself either.
I noticed also when you know, maybe feeling like somebody not seeing your greatness, or I feel like when you start seeing other people's greatness, then they start seeing yours. So like I was telling you that time, I was telling Teron, he's like, yeah, I don't think, you know, I whatever see my greatness or whatever. I'm like, I think they want you to see theirs too, you know, and so I kind of seen the shift when he started, you know, seeing their greatness and how, like, I can see the difference, you know what I mean? So I think when you start seeing other people in that light and seeing them in that love and their higher self, then they start seeing you the same way.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of times when people are hard to get along with type of people, or people that's deemed as mean or hateful or something like that. Like we just can't see the light in them. Like it's no light in them, you know. And the person will be like, everybody will tell you that person is mean and hateful, you know. And because everybody will tell you that, that's what that person is really responding to. And it's not a person in this world, I don't believe, who doesn't have more than one side of them. And even though the side that they may show you is the mean and hateful side, they have another part. And if we can see the divinity in them, even if we got to use our imagination, if we can see their divinity, see them as perfection, see them as golden, as divine, if we can start seeing that in them, they will feel that energy, and then they will offer to us exactly what we're offering to them. And so we may be the only person who's receiving that part of them that's not mean and hateful.
And I think that's very true too, because I remember I had a job at a drugstore once, and when I switched stores or whatever, and so when I switched stores, it's like, yeah, like this manager is just terrible to work with. Like she gonna do this, like it gotta be her way or the highway. She ain't never trying to get no leeway or whatever. And so I heard all of this stuff, and I was like, I guess at that moment didn't realize I was just flipping, and I didn't want to acknowledge those as what was happening. So what I was telling myself is like, yeah, that's just them though. Like, yeah. Like, and I'm just here to get a check, so it don't really, like, you could be as mean as you want. I'm here to collect this check and go. But when I got in there, like, the nicest person in the world, love working with them, and probably like one of my better work experiences actually, and meant a lot to me to this day. And now all I can just like, so I remember going through a moment where I was like, well, dang, like, why all them people saying that about her? Like, that's real mean. Like, why y'all doing her like that? And now I'm also able to realize now, like, maybe it was also, they could have been that, but it could have been, you know, they weren't shining their light bright enough for the whole room to illuminate. And here I am coming in happy-go-lucky, and you just reciprocate it.
I want to say I didn't know people still say drugstore. But yeah, I think not judging and coming from love is such a big key in seeing someone greater. Because like y'all remember I was telling y'all about how I would try. I get up, start my day, and try not to judge nothing. And I may not make it until I get down the street. You know, but I as the day go on, and I keep that on my mind, and be intentional about not judging, like I can see the difference. Because when you're not judging, you're looking for something, like you said, like something good about someone. Like it almost forces you to do that, because you're like, but I ain't gonna look at the way they got their shoes, but you know they got their shirt all right. You like it forces you to look at something. So I think, and I want to try that again too. Like see how far throughout the day I can get without judging, and hopefully get through a whole day or get through a year or whatever. But yeah, I think the key is not judging and coming from love. And when you catch yourself judging, find something good about the situation or the person or whoever.
Yeah, you think it, Teron, when you was telling me about the job experience, right? Just recently, I ran into somebody, and this was like a work situation, and it was like, so what do you think about, you know, X, Y, Z? And I'm like, well, you know, I haven't had no bad experience with them. And then they started telling me, like, well, such and such said that, you know, they a bad person, they're terrible, you know, this, that, and the third. And I was like, oh, yeah? Yeah. And I'm like, well, you know, I said, it all depends on, you know, your experience, you know, because my experience is something different. So I can't tell you, you know, how their experience, apparently it hasn't been that great with them. But that just made me think about, like, everybody experience with somebody else is a little bit different. So for me, I couldn't tell that lady, you know what? I don't like them, you know, you shouldn't like them either. You know, I was coming more from a space of like, There's nothing wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? They're totally fine. I mean, talk to them. You know?
Well, this has been an interesting conversation about shining the light. You want to rap for us?
Yeah, sure. I think if I could say anything, I just would want to remind everybody to do two things: see the light in yourself, like your full light, and also when you're looking at those further away from you, just think about those qualities that you're liking in that person, and just look around you, because I'm certain that 9 times out of 10, there's also people right close to you with those same qualities that just might want you to also see them in that same light that you're seeing Sierra, P. Diddy, Russell Wilson.
All right, thank you guys. Yes, we are the light. We all are the light, and just remembering to shine our own light brightly. And when we do, we'll easily be able to see the light in other people. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Shine the light on them. Shine the light on them.
Shine the light on them. We'll talk to you next week. This is Arvette.
And this is Steve.
Rodney.
Teron.
Bye, guys.